And good evening. This is the Elliott wave update for the NASDAQ 100 and the S&P 500 for Thursday, April 18th, 2024. The markets remain crazy. They remain wild. They remain woolly, and they're going in all directions possible. And everything that has been presented remains valid at this time, including the technical analysis that's kind of going over the options flows, the gamma squeezes that we're getting, and also the volatility triggers and the call and the put walls. All of that could become very important as we build towards tomorrow's expiration. It is a monthly expiration. Yes, it's a monthly expiration. It is not the largest that we've seen, but it is up there. So there's a great deal coming off, and a little bit extra flavor has been added, particularly because in the SPX, 5,000 remains a fairly large put wall. I'm going to start here with the NASDAQ, and then I will go over to the S&P. No, you know what? No. I know I said what I said first, but let's just go right into the S&P. And here we are on the 4-hour chart for the S&P. And again, I still have not changed over. I'm still thinking that we did a minor 1, 2, and 3 of an intermediate C wave to finish that primary B wave, and then begin a stronger primary C wave down. Now, everything else has been still that I'm running congruently with this remain also intact in terms of that maybe this is the completion point for minor wave 5, and then intermediate wave C, and then the primary B, and this somehow will actually work out to be. Now, how could that work out to be? Well, if I kind of just bring this down and look at it, it could be an opening diagonal. Strange as all this is, because this really is not, in my mind, forming a diagonal, but we do have it to begin. And first waves can also form a diagonal because the speed and just the confusion or whatever else is going on in the market, but it does form and label down. So we have a finishing diagonal, we have a starting either an A wave or a first wave comes in also as a diagonal. So a couple of things that are going on. And if this had to be wave 5, then yep, we'd have to work to where this is going to work out to be 1, 2. We've gone over this before. And then 1, 2 again, as we're seeing. But then it breaks into 5, down with the 3 down to here. And that's where the triangle kind of finishes off. So I'd have to dig deep into here to realize that this is and could be a 5-wave structure down, 3-wave structure up, as complex as it is in between, but still 3 up. And now we're doing 5 down to either to be waves 1, 2, and 3 of the first waves down. So this is where it all comes to a head, and we begin to either gel or not, because if it's a 4th wave, then we still have a 5th wave up. So what needs to happen here is, if indeed it's an ABC down, then we're going to be looking for a stronger rally up and out of this thing. But if it's going to be a 1, 2, 3, and also we get as a 3-wave 4, and then it comes back down in a 5, well, that then tells us that this count gets pushed over, because this all has to hold. So in other words, if it comes down and it breaks here, the no break zone, which if indeed it was coming off a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's high probability that it would come down and break 4,900, because I'm looking for it as it's completing this. We still run the risk that it's going to go down and break that put wall. And it could do it tomorrow and really upend this expiration just by breaking in the SPX that put wall and powering through it and creating a situation where there needed to be a lot of adjusting and a lot of additional selling. So if that goes in, then it's really going to feel more leaning towards that it's not a 4th wave. And again, if it doesn't, and we have to then wait through what we would be expecting after. If this is a 4 and we're looking for a 5 up, it's going to be 5 waves of its own. But if it's a 1, 2, 3, and the move itself is a 4 in the other direction, in the upside, and it comes in as an ABC, finishes and comes down and breaks, well, then we're going to get more clarity as to which count. Now, I know it's very difficult to kind of put this all together and realize, wow, how many counts you got running? Well, actually, I got 3. I got 3. And this one sat in the middle, and I pushed it over when I started to realize, or started to look at how it was unfolding and what levels had come in. And does that match up with the cycles? Yes. Does it match up with that put wall holding? Yes, it does. But what it doesn't match up with is if that put wall cracks open and creates a flood and we get a lot of additional heavy selling, then we're going to go through all of that. We're going to go through all the levels that should help hold to keep the other count alive. And then we walk over and we see that I've also, and talked about, and I'm going to bring it up right now, if this put wall breaks substantially and starts the flood that it could start, then we may just drop right through 5,000, right through 4,900 and up, breaking this level. And then we will know that, nope, it's not a 4. We're working into the first 5 down. And actually, it would be wave 3. Because this would be 1, this would be 2. And this 5 waves that we're doing would be wave 3 of the first wave down. It would be we're looking at, this would be minute 1, minute 2. And we're looking and working towards the first minor degree, first wave. So it would be minute 1, minute 2. We're in minute 3. And we still, even as it's counting, that well, let's bring it down. Looking at as it is counted right now. I'm going to go to the 1 hour chart. I had a tough time because this was not very together. But this ended up being 5. And this, as ugly as it was, ended up being 3. A series of 3s, but 3. So it kind of came down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of this 3. And then ABC 4. And that got put in this afternoon or this morning. And then we started to drop down again. And we challenged that put wall 3 times. And it held. And they rallied strongly back off of it. Then Netflix earnings came out. I don't know. I've not read what they are, what they were. I can just tell you that if it opens where we're closing it right now, then we're suspecting that we're going to get a $20 drop in the opening tomorrow. That should gap lower. It's been lower than this. It's been higher. When it was first reported, the market, the NASDAQ, smashed lower, just nosedived lower, and then they bought it all back. All of it immediately. I mean, I'm looking on my chart. I'm looking at a 1-minute bar. So I have a 1-minute chart. And I see it go down and go back all the way up in a minute or 2. It was quite amazing. And then to bring it all the way back down again. So a little bit difficult. But again, if I'm looking at that and I'm looking at this to be a 5th wave, it's going to be 5 waves in and of itself. So there, what do I have? 1, 2 of 5. So we really start to project. And we use the fibs, but, they all got to start coming together. 618 does, but wave 3, 618, no. Wave 3 will at least come in with equality to the first wave. And that's 5,005. Basis the future. There's still about 37, maybe tomorrow it's going to be 36, maybe even 35 of premium in the future over the cash. That suggests that this thing breaks. And if it does it overnight, that it's going to gap lower in the SPX. There's danger in that, of course, because again, that's the put wall at 5,000. Again, I don't know. I don't know how many may be traded out. I don't know. But as far as I can tell, it's still there. Now, so if we're looking for a third, they may just start to break it. And then we have, for the entire fifth, 49.86, 49.82, and then also just working this on a third, we have those levels plus 49.70. So where do we start really looking at this first five? Eventually, there's the no break, the no fly. But you can see if they really start pushing this, and again, it gets aggravated by that put wall and by other flows and expiration and etc. It's now you're going to see, oh yeah, it could go there. Am I looking for that? No, but I will follow what the market tells me it's doing. I won't be questioning, why are they selling? I'm just going like, because of what they just did. Because what just broke, because of other factors that come in and change the tone. Just like Netflix earnings. I don't know what they were, but I tell you that the market is very sketchy on them. There's something that the company said or reported that didn't sit with the expectations of how they were pricing the stock. So adjustments are made. Anyway, back to the S&P. Again, on a cycle basis, the S&P has cycles that are again beginning to weaken. I will tell you, the harder we drive lower and the harder we start to push, if we go through 540 to 530, 5,040 to 5,030 in the S&P futures, it's going to start to really gnaw and decay the market's ability to turn, stop, and find the energy or the whatever to actually begin to rally, because it starts to break down a lot of the structure that would take over and allow that market to pick up and rally. There are a lot of calls being put out. And I find it very interesting that the financial media pulls them out. They find them at these various firms and they pull them in to talk about a bullish story, a bullish picture. Yes, the prices can go higher. Yeah. What have I been talking about? I have a count and I'm still using right now that would suggest we move higher in a fifth wave, a minor fifth wave, before we're complete. And where does that go? Well, again, moving back up, we got 5,200, and that's where the call wall is starting to build up. But then the major call wall is sitting at 5,300, and we're looking for a move to that level. So if we were looking for downside, I'm going to stick a -4 on it. We were looking for the possibility it could come down and challenge this put wall, which has been sitting there for quite some time at 5,000 basis the SPX. Now, on the way back up, it's in the SPX that the strength of that call wall doesn't really hit the market until 5,300 SPX. So what are we looking at in the futures market? Well, if we're going to get that same factor in terms of premium, maybe it'll be reduced to like $30, right? It's a June contract. We're coming into May. Well, maybe it'd still be like 32, maybe it'd be as high as 35. Well, I don't know. But that's going to be the level plus, right? If that call wall's at 5,300 in the SPX, then it's going to be 5,330, 5,340. So it's almost the same thing, but in reverse, back up to the upside, right? We have that support from 5,040 down to 5,030. It starts to break below that. It should, and it may accelerate. So we got all sides kind of covered here. If it holds, we already know they step in. We already know that there's a lot of buyers out there. They're just wanting to jump back in, wanting the stock. So that may continue. Let's get through tomorrow's expiration. So again, those are the factors. Those are what's going on. Even if I count it as it is, we should still see a down leg. And so my thought process is, if they do it like maybe they did this morning, they came in right away and challenged the put wall. They did it right away from the opening. All right, so got it down there. Or if they do it tomorrow and actually break through it and get it early, that could set the tone for the balance. Or at least for the morning session before, they reverse it again and run up somewhere else to monetize something else. All right, so where are the levels? The 618 level, which sits around 5,020, 5,030-ish, those again are where we're going to start to challenge the put wall. And again, I got to wait for the numbers to come out. I got to wait for all the readings to come out and everything settles as to maybe how much that has come off or been built. Now, if it stays in place and we come down, the next level of support is 5,005 in the futures market. And that would have broken through that put wall. So counting out after that, if 5,005 doesn't connect and hold for like a third wave, maybe, I don't know, right? We're looking, that's where it's equal. It's equal to, if this is 1 of 5, 2 of 5, 3 of 5, it's equal. I would take that actually. But then we have additional support underneath, 49.87 down to 49.8250 with 49.70 underneath. So we got a cluster there. Now, if this is going to be a 3, a 4, and a 5, maybe that's where the 5. Otherwise, we break. And again, this is going to suggest that we're now breaking through that put wall, and there's a little bit of afterburn happening. And that being the case, we have 49.20 to 49.13, and then we've got the marker at 48.95. It's like, please don't break me, because then it's all done in terms of the count. Then we put a 5 there, and we got the first 5 down. Possibly. Still, by the way, within a, well, yeah, it would still only be minute wave 3. So we still have a minute 4 and a minute 5 before we finish minor wave 1 coming off of that high. So, yeah, 5,000 in the SPX remains pretty important right now. Equivalent 5,030, 5,040, 5,030 in the futures market. And then we'll see what's going to happen. We do have the room. RSI still looking okay. All right, so let's go over and take a look at the NASDAQ, which has been the beast. NASDAQ has been a beast. And because we came all the way back down towards the lows to finish the hour after hour. And so, again, my count is still an ABC down. And I leave it as such because, as I've shown previously, it's this right here. That because if I have to put this as 5 of an intermediate C and then primary B, then this has to be more impulsive, in my view, to start a large primary C wave down, and not all bunch of 3s, except coming into here as a 5, which is why it remains, in my view, as that it's a 4. That this is minor 3 and this is a minor 4. So all of that still remains valid. But again, we have levels that it can't break. In the NASDAQ, that's pretty low, 16,625. So if the market really started to unravel up here due to a call wall in the a put wall in the SPX, we have them in the NASDAQ as well, in the NDX, but they're not as strengthy. They're not as built up. And I'm not aware of the one that may or may not be. Let me just go over and take a look. We're just going to look at the cues and see if we might have, we can see just by, we're going to go right here. I am open interest. Where would we have a put wall? Right now, 425. Wow. A lot came into that today. 425. And actually, it's down here, 420. See, look, there it's sitting. 101,000 contracts. I don't know what the 66, what it'll do to that. That everybody getting out, because the market may just go and do it and break it. Closed at 420. Oh yeah, here we go. 422.95 and 423. 420's on the hook, and I believe that would be the put wall for the Qs. And if that breaks, it's going to send a lot of things into motion, which might drive ye old NASDAQ down, 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 down. And then that same thing can happen here, where we have support that it should go to, right? Again, I don't know the calculation for, 420. What that equates to in the NASDAQ, in the NDX even. If somebody else knows, please leave it in the comment section, because I've always searched around for it, but never really checked it out. But in any case, here, I think we got to put wall down in here somewhere. 17,300, I believe. And we'll see. We will see, because again, I can count this. So we have the A, the B. I count 1, 2, 3, and that was actually on the 17th. So yesterday in the morning, and then 4 happened today or yesterday in Globex. And then all of today was just like knocking the pants off of stuff. But it was kind of, it had its moments in both directions, actually. Wasn't always as easy to trade, but it had its moments in both directions. And if you were under a lot of risk parameters, it could have been really difficult to trade. But the bigger guys who don't have the same risk parameters as the little guy has could build a position and just make a fortune. And also options traders were in there too. So if anything, guys, the way I'm looking at this, I'm going to bring this back down. Let's take a look at it on the hourly chart. And if this is 4, then we got a possibility. ABC 1, ABC 2, ABC 3, ABC 4, and we're looking at something to possibly wedge. The last 5 down to complete a minor 4th wave, or just this whole possible 3rd wave, right? Could diagonal. We find them all over the place, because we got the nature, the 3, then we get a 3, and then we get a 3, and that would provide if we get a decent bounce in a 4. We're like, well, wait a minute, 4 is overlapping 1, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, but if it's a diagonal, no, it's not. And then we just be able to form it, and it could just diagonalize itself right into these areas, because it's just running straight fibs, equality for 5. If it's not going to be a diagonal, but maybe even if it is going to be a diagonal, we have 17,372, still above the do not touch area. Way down here. But we have it up in between. Now, the 618, I've left it on there because it kind of came, touched, and stopped at. So finished it up right kind of above this level. But then what's up first? We have 17,441, which goes along with the larger 4th wave. So that's a fib 4th wave. The whole thing off of the highs up there at 18,709, I believe it was. So we got the 50% here. We have the 618 down below, right? So if it all falls apart, and we break 17,372, it kind of gets into a little bit of what I call a black hole, and our next stronger support comes in at 17,140 to 120 down in here. And it's just 618 on the greater picture, and still above please don't hit me mode. So NASDAQ, both actually do still look to require a little bit more downside before even minor wave 4 would be considered complete. But here's the ticket. If that should occur, if we get it and it comes in and we get a rally that actually doesn't stop, that they do keep going, that it doesn't run into another wall of something, then it could put in that bottom for wave 4 and we take off. It's going to be a little bit sketchy, but here's another catch when it comes to the SPX. Please understand that I believe the put wall expires in the morning. These are the AM. There's 5,000. There's the open interest. Here's what traded today. These I watched trade up to $15 when it came down before. So a lot of the volatilities come out of these into the close. And it's only now $11 away. But tomorrow, tomorrow is expiration. So if they try to do it on the opening, well, you'll see. Could get interesting. And then I could release all of this gamma. And then maybe we get the ability to spike out of it. Because the afternoon is not quite the same. A lot traded today, right? Here's the difference. Here's the vol difference between the morning and the afternoon. And right now, what was it? The other one was $8. It's like $5 premium between the morning and the afternoon. And more. It's $7 premium. $7 premium between the morning and the afternoon. Wow. Okay. So it's still alive. That they may wait all day. So just if they do it in the morning and we see all that stuff come off, settle, then it could get interesting still. All right. So back to ye old chart in the NASDAQ. We pretty much have laid it out. Moving averages are following exactly what the market is doing for a change. I just would think that as day traders, we just really want to capture these moves. So we're trading without a bias for a directional move. We're following technical indicators on the very, very short-term charts. And primarily, as I've talked to you before, I really trade on a 1 minute, a 2, a 5, and look at a 15-minute chart. Now, and it's because I promised that I work with Sascha Goring, and you all know he's been doing podcasts with me. Hopefully, we'll be doing that again soon. But I want to, and I said I would include his count. And let me just kind of make this bigger. And so his count is that it's a diagonal coming off of the high. Still 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're in an ABC for wave 5. And I have 3 down here and 4 up here and wave 5. And this is suggesting that there's in a diagonal. And we come up with the same areas in terms of support to finish this. This is about 17,372, maybe a little bit lower. But you can see that this is his area that he is suggesting that will become very important to complete the entire move. And as you saw, he is actually putting it in as a WXY. And now we're doing the Y right now. And that will then finish the wave 4. And then we'll get a rally. So that is Sascha's, and a little bit different than mine, but still, we will wait and see. I am not I don't think any of us are in a position to say what somebody's count won't work over somebody else's count, unless we're seeing some blatant errors in terms of how they are counting, of which they're not here. So this is also a possibility, and still basically getting us to the same thing. But if you're counting the entire move off of the high down to these levels as a WXY, then you might find this more interesting and to fill in these blanks. All right. Also, just so that everybody knows that we do have a trade room, and I just want to bring that up one more time at the very end of this thing. Thank you for listening. We have a trade room that we operated from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. That's going to be 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And within that, our primary market is the NASDAQ. We trade the NASDAQ future. And Sascha presents a lot of levels, and he updates a lot of levels in between all these moves. And I must say, and I'm going to continue to repeat, those internal levels that Sascha produces are very, very often accurate to the tick. So we get a lot of really great trades off of those. And I'm inviting people that if they have an interest and they're looking for a trade room where we actually do trade and we do show it live, and we work with people that are looking to get funding. So not that we're partnered with Apex, but we do use Apex for that purpose, to help people get additional funding for accounts. And so we're all trading Apexes. So it kind of is we do have people that are trading their own accounts as well, so don't get me wrong. But anyway, that's we're opening it up again for new members. And right now, if you want more information in terms of, or even signing up, the cost right now is $2.99 a month, but you're not committed to anything more than that month. And my own personal goal to members is that my goal is that I try to make $299 a day or $300 a day, which covers the cost of the trade room. And so that's the goal of the room, that everybody that's in there is able to at least make $300, pay for the trade room. And if you do that every day, even after you pay for the trade room, you're going to be making approximately $1,500 a week, which is not a bad start. And then you build from there. All right, that's where I'm going to end. So again, if you have an interest, you can go to www.logicalsignals-trading.com, and that'll bring you to a PayPal page where you can put your information in. And then once if you do join, I will receive that confirmation of payment, and then you will be directed back over to Sascha and get your access to our Discord server, because our room is on Discord. You can also use PayPal straight out and just go to tradershelpingtraders.com, hit the trade room tab, and then go ahead and put your information in and pay. Thank you very much for listening today again, and we will see what happens. Of just one more time, let me just say, I don't think we have anything major, but I better check on what we got coming up tomorrow on the economic calendar. We have nothing. That's what I thought. We just have one Chicago Fed president out speaking. So maybe we just have a good old-fashioned expiration. All right, so the next update on an Elliott wave basis will be on Monday, April the 22nd. Busy weekend ahead for me, but I'm going to try, just because it's, I believe, important, to at least put together a quick podcast for that bigger picture. So if necessary, I may put that on tomorrow, as a matter of fact, because my weekend is a little bit busy. In any case, I would try to get that done. The next Elliott Wave update will be on Monday, the 22nd. Have a great trading day tomorrow.